Okay, Karen, it's my first week really back on something resembling my old schedule after that huge Star vs. nuke. I don't even remember what I had planned for this week. So, what's on the docket? Some really cool in-depth Steven Universe analysis, or maybe another Q&A where I go onto my Discord and answer questions that people left for me. I really like those.
Actually, it's that Star versus Severing Stone theory that you wanted to spotlight.
Oh, more Star versus. That's fine, I guess. That's a really interesting theory, and I do really want to cover it. I guess, can you head over to the Discord and pick out some questions for me to answer next week?
I'll get right on it.
Thanks, you're a doll. Anyway, a Star versus theory, and I want to start right out the gate by saying that this isn't my theory. I just kind of want to cover, spotlight, and give my thoughts on it. This theory is actually credit to Tumblr user Isaac Kuo, I think is how it's pronounced. It's from the Tumblr page Isaac Kuo's sketchbook, which, if you guys are Star vs. fans, you should definitely check out. There's a lot of really cool Star vs. stuff on there, a lot of cool analyses and theories like this one. Really simple ones that don't take a lot of time to read, but are definitely super interesting. I just really hope I did not butcher this person's name, because I don't think they follow me or watch my content, so I will probably never know. Additionally, if this is a thing that you guys like, me talking about another theory and giving my thoughts on it after running through what exactly the theory says, definitely let me know and shoot some other theories my way, because I apparently do this now. It is definitely something that I am 100% interested in for my own personal reasons, and has nothing to do with the fact that with Steven Universe on hiatus again, I'm starting to run out of things to talk about. Either way, if you guys recall, in my review of the Star vs. episode, The Curse of the Blood Moon, where Star and Marco's souls, which had at least supposedly been bound together by the Blood Moon curse, were split apart again by the Severing Stone, I asked a lot of questions about where they were planning to take this Curse of the Blood Moon storyline, because it ended so abruptly and implied so many questions that I just couldn't imagine that that was the end of it. Well, surprising all of us, I'm sure, that was actually the end of it. Which means that none of those questions that I asked in that review, questions which I thought the show was planning to answer, actually got answered. And just so you guys know exactly what questions I'm talking about, I'm actually going to run through a couple of them for you here by replaying a short clip from that video. You can scrum past it if you just don't care. The episode itself, though, seemed to end on a purposeful anticlimax. It left us with so many questions. For example, during the dance that happened in their minds, Star and Marco only really started to truly connect with each other emotionally after the point in the dance that didn't happen in real life. So is that supposed to be the moment when they fell in love or their souls became bound or whatever? Because that specific moment didn't exist in reality. It only existed in their mind. Is the implication here that that scene, they only went back to it because they thought that's when their souls had become bound? It wasn't the moment that their souls had actually become bound? Or was that just some pleasant image that the stone showed them so that it wouldn't hurt when their souls were separated, if that's even possible? Were they even actually bound together, or did that flashback created by the stone bind them together in the first place? Maybe they were literally just that close of friends, but then if that's the case, then why did Marco suddenly not find the cereal thing cute at the end? Or, and this is the one that interests me the most, assuming that, the stone didn't work exactly as they expected. That's my assumption based on the way the episode ended on such an anticlimax. Were their souls just bound so tightly together because they were that close of friends? Were the feelings that they had for each other incidental to this whole thing, and what the stone actually did was sever their friendship? Now, obviously, that's a lot of questions, and in retrospect, it was probably silly of me to assume that all or even most of those would be answered in the short time that the show had left. Especially when I had already made note of the fact that pacing was kind of an issue here and there this season. I think it's worth pointing out that none of those questions get answered. None of them do. Except for the last one, of course, since obviously we do see very soon afterwards that Star and Marco are still friends after this. In particular, we never learn why specifically Star and Marco were shown that dance at the ball and why they were shown a different version of it than what actually happened. Like, we specifically learn later on from Marco in one of the many Star co-scenes that happen as the climax of the series is drawing near, that he has apparently had feelings for Star since they met, or at the very least, almost since they met. So obviously that dance at the ball cannot be the moment that he fell in love with her, which means that as of right now, I think the best theory we have as to why they were shown that scene is simply because that's when they thought it happened, and their expectations shaped the vision that they were given. Unless that's when Star started having feelings for Marco, and we were only seeing her side of it. But the Marco that we saw in that vision of the dance at the ball definitely seemed cognizant and aware of what was going on. It definitely seemed like that was actually Marco sharing the same vision with Star, so that doesn't really track either. Unless the stone really did just break the curse, and that's why they were shown that scene, showing them that particular scene does not really make sense. It doesn't really track, and we know for a fact that that's not what the Severing Stone does. It doesn't specifically break a blood moon curse, so we shouldn't assume that that's what it was doing. And I want to be clear, I'm going to look into this a little more, see if I can cobble together some clues, but I really have no idea what was going on here. I have no idea why they were shown this scene, or even really why this episode progressed and concluded the way that it did. It seems stranger to me now than it ever did, simply because we weren't given any more information to help explain it. I guess I'll just add it to the growing list of reasons why I really hope we get a movie or comic follow-up to this show. So yeah, I guess what I'm asking is, do you guys have any ideas? Do you guys know of any theories floating around as to why specifically the two of them were taken back to this moment, if at the very least Marco's feelings started much earlier? That said, the other prevailing question after that episode was, what memory and or memories did the two characters lose? As we do know from Tom's grandfather, that when the Severing Stone severs two souls in love, they lose the memories of the moments where they fell in love with each other. And since by the end of the episode that specific bond does seem to have been broken, even if the two characters do pretty much immediately fall back in love with each other after the fact, I think we have to assume that some memory was taken from each of them, and that's where Isaac Kuo's theory comes into this. The theory, in fact, makes note of something that I entirely missed. First of all, it reminds you that Star and Marco didn't like each other at first. I mean, Star, I guess, liked Marco, but Star was just really bubbly and liked everybody back then, so I don't really think it was all that genuine yet, if you know what I mean. But Marco was actually pretty clear that he didn't like Star very much. But then that all changed by the end of the first episode, when Star and Marco confronted Ludo's gang for the first time outside of the local Stop and Slurp convenience store, of all places. Star learned that Marco could fight, and Marco saw Star taking something seriously, kicking butt. Star's interest in Marco as a person in general became something more genuine, and at least as far as this theory postulates, that was the beginning of her feelings for him, just as his change in opinion regarding her after seeing her kick butt and perform her super cool magic was the beginning of his feelings for her. The theory postulates that the reason that Marco thinks that he's had feelings for Star since they first met, despite the fact that he clearly didn't like her when they first met, is because this shared memory is the one that the Severing Stone took from them, but that since their relationship wasn't simply based on this one moment, but this one moment plus all of the moments that followed, the feelings remained, even though the memory didn't. And I think the coolest thing is, it does seem that if this is the case, they actually confirmed this in the show. As the place that the portal appears, the portal which served to reunite the two of them in the new world that they created together, appeared in front of the Stop and Slurp. And even though we don't see the Stop and Slurp again afterwards, if we assume that the geography of that new world is based on the geography of the old ones, it should be there somewhere in the area. And while this only confirms this in a meta sense, I think it was still put here to hint to us that this is where the relationship between these two really got started. To place the ending bookend of this love story in the same place as the beginning bookend, if that makes any sense. The theory then closes with how crazy and appropriate it is that the things that Marco initially hated about Star, her little personality quirks, are the things that he came to find so adorable and endearing about her over time. And I gotta say, for as simple as this theory is, literally 2 sentences, 3 pictures, and then 2 closing paragraphs, I love this a lot. I think this makes a lot of sense, and is probably definitely the answer that the crew on Star Versus was trying to convey to us in this still very vague scene that I feel needs explained and expanded upon a whole bunch, which has given me hope that there are other little Easter eggs peppered around these last couple scenes of the show. So I'm probably going to go back and rewatch it a couple more times, maybe see if other people are picking up on Easter eggs and cross-reference a little bit based on which episodes those Easter eggs seem to be referencing, and see if I can figure anything out. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but if I do, I'll definitely make a theory about it. But this theory, though, I think it explains at least this one thing. It doesn't answer the question as to why exactly they saw that particular scene at the ball. I still really want to know why that was there. Like, again, I want to reiterate, Marco makes it absolutely clear that he started developing feelings for Star before that dance at the ball. So either way, the show has already invalidated that as the place where they fell in love. So this theory does not contradict anything in the show. It's actually supported by it. As per usual, though, guys, I'd like to know, what did you think of any of the ideas put forth in this video? What did you think of the theory that I covered? Again, if you have any theories you'd like me to take a look at, preferably simpler ones like this. Like, they can be a little more complicated, but nothing super huge and in-depth. I do try to keep these videos to a certain length, after all. But if you do have any other theories that you think I might like to cover, please let me know in the comment section down below, or preferably, since that's going to involve links, over in my Discord, link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.